the Form Swim goggles, you've got a front row seat to in-activity readouts like stroke rate, splits, and intervals, all displayed right in front of your eyeballs, real time. It's almost like your coach is right there with you.
Holy sh!
The other thing I've been dealing with in the last year or so with my athletes, I've been playing around with what I call kind of like the dynamics in swimming that are already there, kinetic, kind of kinetic power that's there, that energy that's there. Can we find kinetic energy in swimming that's already there that we can utilize to apply to different strokes? And it sort of comes back to that whole Pancakes story you did on like hydro freestyle, because that was all surrounding using the use of kinetic energy. And if you could take kinetic energy that you're already taking and then apply it to the movement of moving the shape going forward, then you're becoming more efficient and the cost of swimming goes down. There's inherent kinetic energy in all strokes. And the more I've been looking at that, how do we find kinetic energy? How do we recognize it? And then how can we use it? Can we use it? There's kinetic energy in butterfly and breaststroke. Every stroke out there. But the key is, number one, recognizing it, then understanding how to utilize it, and then creating training environments where you can, again, help the athletes expose the brain to the concept of the movement, and then to put them in environments where they can take it to race velocities. And to me, it's the whole paradigm. It's, how do we get faster? How are we going to get faster? Well, to me, it still really comes down to this. Most people feel like training harder. Yeah, it works. Training harder does work. But at the end of the day, if we're going to get to, where running has gotten to that point where you have to have this amazing, insane Usain Bolt type character that just pushes the boundaries of performance in the 100-meter dash, whereas they were already kind of at the wall for a long time. I don't know that we're at the wall in swimming, because I feel like most athletes are probably still at about 80% of propelling efficiency, even at the elite end.
Mm-hmm. So this theory that you're talking about, how are you planning on implementing that? Like, what will that look like in the water?
I'm sort of playing around with it right now. Mm-hmm. Between swimming with weights on, swimming with resistance, just swimming with hands, just different things. To me, it's the most interesting part of it. And I've come to Indiana. It's a completely new place, and I felt like, okay, I learned a lot of things at Alabama for this, and I brought much of that with me. But to me, it's a new kind of like canvas type of thing. And the two things that I wanted to really, really explore and improve over this year and the next couple of years is this concept. So I've been playing around with this concept. I read the book called The Performance Cortex, and this is really the most important message came out of the Performance Cortex was how to perfect patterns of movement and how to narrow the band of iterations at high velocity. And the process of doing that. So do I have an exact answer right now? No, but I think I have a really good corner on the market. I'm not going to open it up to the general public yet because it's still kind of open, mm-hmm. But this is kind of where I'm working right now.
What do you have going on here right now?
Well, I'm probably, the company that probably owns these things probably is going to kind of start crying when they see what I've done with them. But this is the only way to kind of get it done, to put in a situation where athletes can kind of use these things effectively. Mm-hmm. Put a little slip knot on them so they can kind of use them and be able to kind of maneuver them in a way where they can kind of move this up and down the line if they have to, type of thing. This comes back from old fishing days, and I did a lot of fishing when I was a kid growing up. And if you had to learn how to do a slip knot, actually this one's a little short, but if you can do a slip knot, then you can handle, anything.
Yeah.
In terms of this, then they can move it up and down the line, but it's still there. See? All right, one done.
So, what have you added to this parachute?
Oh, I just I put a buoy in there so it keeps the parachute closer to the surface, so it doesn't drag too low, keeps it up a little higher. It also helps it stabilize to where it doesn't start doing this kind of stuff behind them, which is a bit of a pain. But it's basically all I'm doing.